Hello everybody. In this video, we're going to be covering another 10-minute eye test for Firechain, a new layer 1 blockchain focused on sustainability, if I remember correctly. Say hello to my good friend and colleague, Sasha. How are you doing, Sasha?
Hello, I'm doing well, and I think this is going to be a fun one because, we don't know a whole lot about what this is, right? But I think you told me there was some controversy around Firechain, so I guess we'll try and figure out what that controversy is.
Yeah, just for a little context, I think it's about, delaying or locking up liquidity or capital for a few years during the bear market. But this is not unique to them. I think a lot of projects have been doing this, and it's a little bit controversial, but they're not the only ones to be doing it. So yeah, as I said, in this video, we're going to take 10 minutes only to dive into this and see if it's a viable investment for us. Obviously, do your own financial research. This might be differing opinion than ours. So please like and subscribe too if you enjoy this content, and if you would like to see more content like this, and also leave us your feedback if we're totally wrong about Firechain or some other projects in the future.
Always taking suggestions. And okay, so let's go ahead and start the clock. You ready?
Yep, I'm ready.
Dive in, starting now. There's 10 minutes. Okay. We've got Firechain up on CryptoRank. They're raising 204K. IEO started last week. And so this is a token launch that is, I guess they've been raising for a little while now. We've got 204K here on Bybit, 500K on Launchpool, 80K on DAO Launch. All different prices. That's kind of strange.
Yeah, and it's a little misleading to say they're only raising 200K when they've been raising for 2 years, 500K there, 80K there. So there's
Oh,
different
yeah.
rounds, and it looks like they're raising Series A 100 million and a seed of another 20 million.
This is a lot to take in right now. So just looking at these dates, right? Look, the private pre-sale back in 2021. And then March 2022, there was a couple of rounds. And then the IEO is now active like 2 years later after they first started raising funds. And then there's this. Like, this is crazy, man. So it looks like they're raising against equity $121 million across 2 rounds. That's it.
So
That's a
the
lot of money.
Series A came last year in July 2022. So that's unusual too, to see a Series A before a public launch. Also, you have seed going back as far as October 2021, more than 2 years ago, helmed by Gem Digital. We don't know if there's an angel or pre-seed round, but I would imagine there's something. So yeah, these guys have been building for a while, I would imagine, which is good. The bad news is the flip side of that is that they've been holding up liquidity for so long
Mm.
during this bear market. So I personally did invest in this. I know you didn't, but I wouldn't be happy if my funds were held this long. But like I
Yeah.
said, not unique to them. A lot of companies have done this during the bear market.
Yeah, I'd say if I invested on the token side, I'd be a little bit upset. But in all likelihood, there might be a pre-seed, an angel, or friends and family round because this
Yeah.
valuation, a very first round, private equity is very, very high. So I would assume that there's maybe some unreported 1 or 2 other rounds. It looks like their token supply, they're valuing at $90 million fully diluted, which is a lot. And the initial market
Wow.
cap of 500,000. Oh my God. Should we do some math?
I love math.
All right. So, what is that?
Hey, just keep in mind, everybody, too, we have gotten feedback from founders on these videos before that actually the information is not always updated. So we don't want to cause unnecessary FUD here. This might not be the accurate statistics or specs for this round or the tokenomics. But based off what we see, what is it, Sasha?
I mean, if this is any source of truth for people that might be evaluating an investment opportunity, I don't know. We're talking about 0.5% of circulating supply initially, which is very, very low.
Very low.
I typically would recommend maybe anywhere from 8 to 15%. So this is definitely what we would call a micro cap. They might be trying to create some hype and speculation. Not a big fan of that. But I mean, this fully diluted market cap is something that would correspond more to like a layer 1 or a layer 2 or something, right? I don't even know what they're doing yet.
Yeah. I was going to say I think they're a blockchain network, but I don't think I've ever seen a microcap blockchain launch before. It's an
No,
interesting
never.
strategy.
It's kind of crazy. Fifth generation blockchain that aims to provide a paradigm shift from a for profit to a for benefit economy, and that was kind of what we had covered in our upcoming IDOs video a week or two ago. So I guess it's time to dive deeper, man. Let's see what this token's about.
Yeah, the description doesn't really tell me a whole lot. So
So blockchain meets
sustainability,
ooh, layer one.
EVM. All right. So they want your email address right away. They got the social links on top, which I like. They have Fire Explorer, so they have their own dedicated on-chain analytics platform, kind of
Hmm.
like ETHScan, I imagine.
Yeah.
Testnet beta is live already. They got documentation for developers. Partner with us. They have a funnel to people that might want to work in their ecosystem, which you and I have talked about before. This is huge. If you're launching a blockchain environment, you are only as good as the people you attract to not only use it, but even more importantly, to build on it, because your builders attract users for you. So you work in tandem to create and co-build this ecosystem. So if they don't have anybody big on board, it's not a good sign. And if they do, good for them. This is a positive sentiment building from the beginning.
Yeah, absolutely. We can very easily check up on this and see like what does their traction look like before they've even really come to market, gone live with mainnet. But these are all things that you want to see when it comes to a layer one or a new blockchain that's launching. So they're doing a good job there. They're apparently sustainability driven with reputation based mechanisms. So I'm not sure what that means by sustainability driven. I am a little bit familiar with the sustainable development goals that the UN had put together that they seem to be catering towards. I'm just wondering, like, how do they encourage, let's say, dApps or teams to build dApps on their network that align with these kind of goals? And so I'm wondering, maybe like, there's a portion of any sort of ecosystem fees or like transaction volume revenue they're collecting that's going back to certain initiatives, but it's not so
I
clear
think
here.
if you go up, I think it said build to earn or something like that. Maybe that's part of it. Top 10 dApps to receive an incentive after evaluation, opportunity to earn rewards through our referral program and grant scheme. So they do have some kind of mechanisms to attract builders, and build to earn seems like an annoying buzzword, but let's be honest, building is one of the few things that actually deserves earning. That's just work. That's a job. I
Yeah,
don't
that's
think watching to earn or playing a game to earn is necessary, but build, yeah, let's pay these builders to bring value to this ecosystem.
yeah, labor to earn. And this is a cool concept. Reduce gas fees for the early adopters,
That's
for the
very
first
interesting,
500
actually.
billers. So that's a good idea. I haven't seen that before. Does
Like
that
a
mean they can
bonding
just
curve.
control? Yeah, can they just control like what the gas fees are in this ecosystem? Like, do they have this kind of like minute control over the consensus mechanism of this L1? It's kind of weird.
Yeah, it's like a gas fee bonding curve. If you think about it, it's an interesting way to structure it, where you grandfather people in. The first 20 projects get this price, gas fees forever in perpetuity, locked, maybe capped, so that it incentivizes people to be the first ones to build an ecosystem, which is a nice way to do it.
Yeah,
A
for
lot of
sure.
partners.
A lot of partners. There's a lot of companies that we recognize here, and so yeah, I'm wondering
Can
like
I
how many are
mention?
investors, how many are
Here's a
partners that are building.
big red flag for me is lumping partners and investors together. So you got, you know, Maven Capital, you got, I don't know, Polkadot there, I think I saw. So
Yeah, yeah.
it's very, it's very unclear who's an investor and who's a partner and what these partners do. So not just picking on these guys, but anybody that does this, it doesn't look good to investors.
No, not really. I haven't seen DuckDAO in a while. That's interesting. Well, I guess our goal remains the same, right? And when it comes to layer ones and blockchains, it's kind of difficult to evaluate how valid the consensus mechanism that the token fits into is in even 10 minutes if we had the full 10 minutes to do that. So we need to just assume that the token plays a part in the consensus mechanism and it is absolutely necessary. And it's not uncommon that a lot of layer ones or new blockchains raise funds against their equity and then raise funds against their tokens. So that's not a red flag, but maybe we could find a white paper here to give us an idea.
Did you see Didier Drogba, the famous football player, is a business advisor? That's peculiar. as well.
Interesting. Um, Maybe I can be a business advisor. So we've got let's see, we've
How good are
got
your football skills?
pretty good. They're pretty solid research papers here. So we've got some ISO certified certifications, peer reviewed journals. So this is probably where we'll find a lot of stuff around the technology itself, proof of concept articles. Man, there's a lot to look at. I mean, we only have a little bit of time left. What do you want to see?
I mean, we've covered this before, but covering a layer one in 10 minutes is probably the most impossible task for any 10-minute investor I test. But maybe the team, I know that we didn't look into the team on the last video we made, which was obviously one of the more important parts. So I haven't seen anything about the team here or there.
So we've got LinkedIn up here. Let's see what we could find. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, let's see. CEO office fire chain. I'm wondering, like, how many of these people are full-time employers? Here's a co-founder. We got Pratik D. That is a fun photo. And Pratik, let's see, previously had founded World Web 3 Associates, Kaching Media, and those were all just a few years ago. Oh,
Uh
man.
oh.
There's our
That
10
felt
minutes.
it was a short 10 minutes for a layer one blockchain.
It was right, but again, they've been building for over 3 years. This individual's been working there for 3 years as a founder and CPO. So that's interesting. Pivoted from CMO to CPO, but oh, you know what? I wasn't even sharing the right tab. Anyways, that's not important. What is important is that we just spent 10 minutes on Firechain to try and understand if it's a good investment opportunity. Carmelo, what do you think?
I mean, to be honest with you, it's not a popular, fun answer, but I don't know. Like, we didn't learn enough about it. I don't know what the token does. I don't know why it's sustainable. They had some interesting mechanisms to attract builders. That's what I saw. Not a whole lot of information on the team that's easily findable for investors. This is sort of like a crypto time capsule, too, because we saw some names that I wasn't even aware are around anymore, like DuckDAO. I don't know if they're around, but it's like locked in time, frozen in time. So we're seeing investors that might not even exist anymore, which is interesting because there's been such a delay. So I'm curious to see what the token actually does in this ecosystem. Obviously, it's used to pay gas or whatever, like the traditional. But there's sustainable blockchains out there that are already proof of stake. So I don't know why they're emphasizing on that. And I didn't see any mentions of transactions per second or ecosystem traction. Who's built there already? Team. So I'm not very convinced that I would invest in this. But that being said, everybody knows that layer one, layer two investments are pretty lucrative for VCs. So just based off a purely speculative mindset, I think a lot of VCs would be excited about any layer one launching because they want to get in on the ground floor for the next Solana. So I imagine why a lot of people are waiting for this and excited and investing in it. But as you and I have commented multiple times in the last few months, there's so many chains launching. It's getting harder and harder to differentiate yourself and show what you're useful for and why people should build with you and invest in you. So I am going to give one thumb sideways. Obviously, we don't have enough time to look at I would like to look at the scan and see how much volume is going through this, what the test network looks like, who the backers are, who the team is. I'd say thumb sideways just to be generous because 10 minutes is obviously not enough time to assess, but I didn't see anything I love compared to some of the other chains we looked at.
Man, I completely would agree with everything you said. And like usually there's one or two things that I like take issue with, but I think everything you said was spot on. We haven't really seen any demonstration of traction. The traction they tried to prove with lumping together partners and investors was very, very quickly invalidated by seeing that there's a couple of names on there that we are confident are no longer around this industry. And so maybe that list has not been updated in a while. I think we had a look at their Chain Explorer to try and understand like what's happening there. Obviously, it's very early stages, but there are other layer ones and blockchains that have launched that, in my mind, had developed in less time and have come to market sooner and with less funding. And so, you have to run some sort of weird comparative analysis and trying to understand, is this is this actually good? So like what issue or problem does it solve that the existing blockchains right now do not
Hmm.
solve? And if you're focusing on the idea of catering an ecosystem towards the UN's sustainable development goals, what does that really mean? And how do you kind of convey or explain that to people that might just be casually visiting your site and your documentation? Because it's unclear for us. And honestly, whatever reputation you might want to maintain around that and encouraging healthy building on your blockchain can easily be wiped out with like a couple of controversial meme coin builds to come to your network from day one. And so like people are trying to kind of create that balance. Like I look at Sui, I look at Say, how are these guys doing? These are very good viable options to build on. And then all of a sudden there's a new kid on the block that should have launched a while back, or they collected funds to build a while back and they still haven't come to market. Not good indicators of what I would measure success to be. So I think, again, for me, I'd say one thumb sideways. I definitely want to learn more around what they're trying to build around sustainability and for
Hmm.
benefit versus for profit. I think that's an interesting concept. And the one thing I saw that stood out to me was the idea of let's say discounted gas fees for early adapters. I think this is some some form of like nice, resourceful, and creative thinking to try and solve some of the problems that come with taking a layer one or a blockchain to market. So it's given me some good vibes. I want to learn a little bit more, but right now I would not consider investing in this blockchain because there's just too much competition in the chain wars right now.
Yeah, and when you couple that with the valuation of the token supply at 90 million or 100 million, I can't remember, and the circulating supply, like it doesn't feel like something that is going to work. Maybe it's a little outdated even. And then you couple that with Blast, the latest layer 2 launch, which is doing things the complete opposite way. Just send us a bunch of money and we promise we'll build something. It just feels like that's the new paradigm. Like that's how you launch stuff now. You don't wait 2 years. And I think they kind of missed the train and maybe people have forgotten about it. I think they maybe things work out. Maybe they waited until the exact right moment. So I guess we'll see. By the time this video is live, we'll see. I don't have any predictions for it. I wish them the best of luck. And yeah, please, if you enjoy this content, like I said, like, subscribe, give us your feedback. We don't know a whole lot about Firechain, so maybe you know more. Fill us in. We'll answer to your comments. And yeah, thanks for tuning in. We hope to see you next week. For now, this is Sasha and Carmelo from Arcanum.
Thanks. Ciao, y'all.